Amaya and Bryan are crowned the winners of Love Island USA Season 7, and let me tell you, this is the exact result that I wanted. Amaya and Bryan are the only two people that I really felt in the Final Four that I would want to win this. And I gotta admit, more so Amaya than anything. Yes, I have a preference for Amaya, specifically because Amaya is one of the only people in this villa in the entire show who wasn't really downing anybody. Unless they were talking about her and coming at her character, she was not downing another individual. And there were so many other people that the other person wasn't talking about you or saying anything bad about you or whatever, and they would down the other islanders, or they would hate on other connections, or like whatever. Amaya had no hate in her heart. And on top of that, Amaya is one of the people that actually genuinely explored connections consistently, and she genuinely tried with everybody that she explored with. She explored one person at a time every time. So I actually want to talk to you guys about Amaya's journey, and then at the end of this video I also want to briefly address the whole Huda and Chris situation, because that was a big part of the episode, right? So Amaya's journey, she comes into the island, I believe, right, as a bombshell, and the first thing that happens, right, she gets an interest with Ace, and she couples up with Ace, or he chooses her, right? And we all know how this story goes. Now, something that's been bothering me is a lot of people like, what, I don't understand why people saying, what did Ace do to Amaya? Did y'all watch the show? When he got coupled with Amaya, he immediately told her, like right after, before giving her any validation, right? Because she felt good about it. He just told her, you know, I just want you to know that I'm gonna still keep exploring, blah, 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 whatever, right? Which is cool. You could let her know that I'm gonna still keep exploring. You know, I don't want it to be thought of as anything else like that. But one, the assumption is you're gonna keep exploring, because unless y'all say y'all closed off, we know that you're exploring. But two, she was just upset that he did it on the same night that she was chosen. So it hurt her feelings. But I digress with that, right? Amaya went away, and, you know, she cried about it. She talked to the girls. She said, that's just not the first thing I want to hear after you select me. She wants to feel good about it. So the next day, though, she came back and was like, she was ready to try with Ace, still be apologetic with Ace. And then she was apologizing or whatever. I can't remember if she apologized, but I remember that she was ready and willing to accept his boundaries. She was ready and willing to accept his boundaries. And while she was talking to him, she says babe when she talks to you, right? And she calls everybody babe. And then he proceeds to attack her for calling him babe, which is, you know, something that Bryan ended up defending with her later in the season, that that's just how they talk. You know what I'm saying? So then he started attacking her for the babe thing, and then it spiraled again, even though she was already willing to let go of the other dispute they were having. He just came at her for something else immediately. It was like he didn't even try to just have good conversations with her. He just attacked her for something new that was completely herself. And then on top of that, you kept seeing that Amaya kept saying babe, and she was doing it by accident and saying sorry to Ace, and now feeling bad for talking how she normally talks because he doesn't like it. And then to top it off, I feel like a lot of people forget this. Ace literally refused to sleep next to Amaya the entire time they were coupled once they started beefing, the same way that Chris slept in Soul Ties in the last night instead of sleeping with Huda. He refused to sleep with Amaya. Like, and you could sleep next to the person if you don't, you know what I'm saying? If you don't have a connection, it's a part of the show. But he was like actually disgusted and just too disgusted to even sleep with her. So that was crazy as well. So people that have short-term memory loss, at least remember the fact that Ace literally acted like she had some type of disease and that he wouldn't sleep next to her. So Amaya had to go through that. Then we got to the point where she finally got to recouple, and basically they switched couples, right? So Ace went to Shelly, Austin came to Amaya, she connected with Austin. Now she's trying to make it work with Austin. When she's trying to make it work with Austin, everything's great the first day, and then like second day or whatever, he immediately starts complaining about Amaya behind her back, to Ace's point later on, which Ace said, you ain't say it to her face, which is true. He started complaining behind her back, and when she asked him if he was okay in front of her, she didn't tell him, and Amaya still just keep trying to grow the connection. What happens? They go to Casa Amor, and when Casa Amor happened, Austin found somebody else, and Amaya found somebody else. Now I'm trying to remember, who did Amaya find after Austin? Haha, I just looked it up. It was Zach. She coupled up with Zach. Yo, I keep forgetting that, and my girlfriend had reminded me of this yesterday. But yes, she was in the island. She was by herself, actually, trying to make connections. Zach was coupled up with Alandria, and he left Alandria to couple up with Amaya. So then she tries to have a relationship with Zach. And I don't know, she's trying to grow that as well. She's trying to get to know him as well. At this point, Austin has still not even communicated to her that you know, he had problems with her to begin with. And then during the Standing on Business challenge, I believe she was still coupled up with Zach out of nowhere, where everybody's just throwing shit at her, like just talking about how she comes on too strong and she too much. I forgot who it started with, whoever wrote her the initial note. Then Ace doubled down on it again, and Ace starts making her cry, and then Austin saying it out of nowhere, which he had never said it to her. And then out of nowhere, Zach jumps on this bandwagon and starts saying, yeah, I kissed you and I didn't even want to kiss you. You know what I'm saying? Like, almost like she forced herself on him, but he didn't want to say no because he didn't want to hurt her feelings or whatever the case may be. But again, Amaya was trying so hard with Zach as well. You know, she was doing her best with Zach, and here's another person attacking her character, which I understand. If she's not your type, she's not for you, then great. But everybody was just constantly coming at her. They like just saying that she's too much for them. And then that was the moment that, you know, as we all know, Bryan said what he said about calling you babe, and that's just a part of our culture and this and that, whatever. And she started to give attention to Bryan. Then Zach, all of a sudden, you know, they had a little argument. She cursed him out. Then she came back, as nice as she is, and apologized to him. Even though, you know, it was a clear disagreement there. And then, you know, Zach said he still wanted to explore things with Amaya. And then there was one other person, Elon. Elon wanted to explore with Amaya as well. All these men she gave legitimate chances to, but Bryan is the one that stood up for her in the moment where there was the most turmoil. I would say that Standing on Business episode is the most tumultuous episode. She found a brand new connection through somebody that stood up for her. Like, that's amazing. She found this herself. That's perfect. That's amazing. You know what I'm saying? So that happened for Amaya, and then we all know how it goes from there. Everything goes great with Bryan, and then, you know, the connection develops. They win the whole show, which is amazing, which is perfect. Like I said, Amaya has been trying since day one to connect with somebody, and she only got into arguments with people when they were talking down on her. I will say this, because my girlfriend reminded me of this. The only time she came at somebody was when she came at Shelly when they were doing their makeup or whatever, because she was like, Shelly, you didn't let me know about your connection with Ace. Like, you didn't tell me what was actually going on with you and Ace. And, you know, there's actually truth to that, though, because at the time, Shelly wasn't acting like she was exploring Ace. Like, she didn't say it to nobody for real, except for Ace himself, but she was telling Austin that he was good and trying to make Austin secure, when I knew that Austin never had a chance with Shelly to begin with. And I didn't know why she was acting like Austin had a chance. And then, you know, Amaya just wanted Shelly to be transparent. Like, yeah, I know you coupled with Ace, but I'm still, you know what I'm saying, trying to talk things through with him as well. And it was also kind of weird to me, like, the way that Shelly saw that Ace treated Amaya. And, you know, I feel like at some point you could stand up for her a little bit. Be like, you know, I like you, Ace, but I don't like the way you treated her. Like, you don't got to literally sleep outside because she discussed you and stuff like that. But I digress with that too. Point is, Amaya has been nothing but sweet and great to everybody. She even made up with Ace by the end of the series. So they had the three-way kiss with her, Shelly, and Ace and all of that. So, you know, she is just a bright light in the villa. And I know a lot of people wanted Nick Alandria to win, but to be honest, like, Nick Alandria was something that was fabricated by the audience. If I'm being completely honest with you, they were both supposed to be dumped from the villa, and they weren't dumped for the villa because the producers were trying to create something that they know that the fans wanted. So they took both of them, say, hey, you could stay if you couple up. Then even though they coupled up, they still ended up splitting apart again because Nick goes back to Sierra, and then they only come back together again because Sierra is pulled for the remarks that she made, you know, before she came into the villa on her social media. So Nick and Alandria didn't come together on their own the same way that Amaya and Bryan did. Amaya literally went hunting by herself and went through so many people to find this one person that finally appreciated her and finally treated her right. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I preferred Amaya and Bryan to win. This video is getting kind of long, so let me just get to the Huda part now. But congratulations to Amaya on winning the show. This next tweet And I'm gonna just be short about it. This next tweet about Huda and Chris. Now, we all know that Huda and Chris broke up on the last episode, which I've not seen before. It was crazy. But this tweet is something that I really feel is true. To be fair, Chris and Huda were some of the only parts of the finale I didn't skip because I really couldn't believe my eyes. And then right under that, they said that part, excellent TV. And she said, she really brought the entertainment, I can't lie. And I have to be honest with you, I was very, very bored with everything in this finale that was not Huda and Chris. Even with the Amaya and Bryan situation, like, yeah, it's great to see the love, you know, everything's perfect, everything's dandy. But as far as a viewer, in terms of entertainment, of course, drama is gonna get more views. It's just more entertaining, right? Like, imagine you watched a TV show, like a regular TV show, and there was no conflict the entire show. You would be bored, to be honest. No matter how perfect it is, you will be bored. You get what I'm saying? You always want to see conflict and then see it get resolved or whatever the case may be. Now, I'm not saying I'm praying on none of the Islanders' downfall, but what I am saying is, even though Huda and Chris clearly did not need to be together, because I think they're both terrible communicators, both of them like really bad at communicating. And to be honest, Chris, the second that Huda said she wasn't gonna kiss him in public, I think that's when he was done, even though I feel like Huda didn't want to kiss him in public because the girls came at her for, you know, kissing him before in private. So I feel like she was afraid of the backlash that the other girls would give her. I feel like she was bad at communicating that. I feel like Chris was bad at putting that together and asking her about it. And then he just acted like he wanted to move forward, but he actually gave her the cold shoulder after that. And y'all saw everything from the finale. I ain't going over all of it, but they're really bad at talking and communicating, and they're just really bad at listening to each other. So yeah. Either way though, it was still entertaining to watch. They were the parts that I was most locked in and most tuned in on. So they didn't deserve to win, but if you're gonna sit here and tell me that that wasn't the most entertaining part of the show, I think you lying to me, bro. Like, to be honest, I was most locked in on that. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below too as well. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. This is J Athletic Gaming, and I'll catch you on the next one.